Hi there, Michael.
G'day.
I just bumped into you and I saw you got an interesting t-shirt. Do you want to tell me about this t-shirt that you've been wearing?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've had a number of people ask me about that. Look, it's fairly simple. There's been some things occur, and maybe I should preface this with a statement that my concern is not with the people in the CEC. I know there's some absolutely lovely people who are staff of the CEC, dedicated, committed to what they're doing, committed to great outcomes and so forth. But it's the policies of the CEC that are being created by 19 predominantly multinationals, and it's those policies that are really concerning me. For example...
Are you referring to the CEC board?
Yes. Well, no, not just the board, but the policy-making apparatus. There's 19 multinationals who exclusively have the capacity to set and determine policy within the CEC. Those 19 multinationals have paid $55,000. They get 20 votes at the AGM, and each one of them has unlimited seats on every single directorate that makes the policy. They alone have the ability to actually create the policies of the CEC. The 5,000 plus ordinary members like me, accredited designers and installers, have zero votes and zero capacity to input to the total policy picture. All of the other members, the businesses, the corporate, even the silver and gold members don't get that. Only the top 19 sponsors. So the vast majority of the organisation has no say into what's happening. In recent times, the decision, for example, to create the approved solar retailer concept, and then to link that by virtue of going into all these government departments and saying, don't let anybody do any business with you unless they sign up and give us money as a solar retailer. What that has done is effectively disenfranchised 4,500 ordinary designers and installers, and actively prevents them from gaining meaningful employment through government contracts and on government approved schemes in Victoria, New South Wales, Queensland, Northern Territory, ACT, for example. So they've actually actively chosen to disenfranchise their own membership base and prevent them from doing business. Now, then on top of that, they put out such policies that might be suitable to big coal producers like AGL, who happens to be one of the 19 multinationals, or the Commonwealth Bank, who happens to be one of the and we know how good the Commonwealth Bank is. The Royal Commission has just told us how sensitive they are towards ordinary people in Australia. There's big international investment firms. They're the people who make these decisions. And so they've made decisions like, for example, they've created this monopoly process with legislation that was never intended to be a monopoly. I only discovered this very recently, but when the legislation for STCs was brought into place, there were two organisations who were meant to be able to be authorised people in that, but one of them fell by the wayside, and it left the CEC with a monopoly situation. They then create, quote unquote, guidelines which instantaneously become mandatory. If you do not operate by their guidelines, you simply cannot do business in your chosen field. Even if you're an electrician with years of training, with all of the qualifications that you need, if you don't sign up to their particular guidelines, they simply say, no, you can't participate. To me, that's outrageous. Electricians are electricians. They should be able to do electrical work. So it's those kinds of things. Then to choose to go publicly and declare, we represent 5,000 installers, and support an absolutely dreadful NEG policy, which many of us just find utterly abhorrent.
The National
because
Energy Guarantee.
Yes,
Yep.
because it simply doesn't go down the direction that will promote quality and volume of renewables. For them to say we represent 5,000 installers, no, you do not. And in fact, it was the day that I saw that thing that I went on Facebook and said, the CEC does not speak for me. And I want it to be very clear. The Clean Energy Council does not speak for the 5,000 installers. There might be some who agree with it, but they never ask us. Even groups like Standards Australia, when it comes to technical parts of our work, they'll come out with a draft. They will then bring it to the industry and say, please give us feedback. Tell us what you think. Are there things we should add? Are there things we should modify? The CEC does no such thing. They have a sufficiently high level of arrogance that they simply decide what a guideline is going to be, and then by way of stealth, cause that to not be a guideline, but cause it to be mandatory, and tell us if we don't follow it, we can't work in the industry. I'm sorry, that's a height of arrogance that I find extremely offensive. So my T-shirt clearly and simply says, the CEC does not speak for me. A very simple statement. Because of all these issues, the CEC does not speak for me, and I want politicians and governmental agencies and everybody else to know that.